Hey YouTube, Rando here. Today we're going to dehydrate some potatoes. We're not going to do a lot. There's 4 medium potatoes here, and they're fixing to go bad. We don't plan on cooking them tonight or tomorrow even. So I'm just going to go ahead and dehydrate them just to keep them from going bad. And then what we'll do is next time we do some more potatoes, we'll just throw them in the same mason jars. So eventually we'll have a bunch of dehydrated potatoes, but for now we're just going to do 4. I'm going to get these sliced up, or actually I'm going to skin them, and then I'm going to use the slice-o-matic to slice them. Just makes them uniform, makes them all the same size, makes them dry evenly. You can use a meat slicer on potatoes as well, things like that. Or if you just have a steady hand, you can just cut them. They don't have to be exact. I'm doing slices. You can do hash brown style, stringy potatoes, or you can do cubed if you want. Cubed takes a little longer, so I don't like doing cubed. I use the Ronco, so it already takes long enough as it is. It's not anything like an Excalibur. There's no fan or nothing, so it takes a while in the Ronco. I've done potatoes before, but I never blanched them, and they come out pretty brown. They taste the same. There's no difference in them. Actually, the ones that weren't blanched seem a little less tough. The ones that were blanched seem tougher than the ones that weren't. So I don't know. We'll figure that out on this round maybe. But we're gonna go ahead and pill these. I'm not gonna videotape me pilling them because everybody knows how to pill a potato, and then we'll drop them in the slice-o-matic and slice them up. Now as soon as we slice them, we'll slice them in here, and then we'll dump them into room temp water until we get them all done. That way they don't start browning before we ever start the process. So after I get these skinned, we'll be right back. Alright, we have them all peeled. Now we're just going to slice them, and if you wanted to chunk them, like I said, you could chunk them or whatever you want to do with them. I'm just using sliced potatoes, so we can make like potatoes au gratin and stuff like that, scallop potatoes, what have you. We're going to use the slice-o-matic. You can use whatever you want. You got a meat slicer, knife, whatever. I just like to keep them as uniform as possible. So we're going to get those cut up into this, and then empty this into the room temp water until the water gets boiling. You want it to be at a rolling boil when you place your potatoes in there. And you're only going to place them in there for a few minutes, not long enough to actually cook them. You just want the starches to come out of them. You still want them firm. You don't want mush. So when we get to that step, we'll be right back with it. And you can see the potato fits in there pretty well. And you just set this on top of it. That simple, and there's already a slice in there somewhere. So we're going to get them sliced up, and we'll be back. Alright, so we have them all sliced up. I just wanted to show you how uniform they are with that slice-o-matic. And really, we just put them in this water to keep them from coloring while we wait for this water to boil. But also to rinse them off a little bit. You can see that white stuff there. That's the starches coming out already, so it don't take much to get the starches out of potatoes. We're going to go ahead and plunge them into the water now, even though it's not quite boiling. And the reason is this is our frying pot, and it's warped on the bottom, so there's not a lot of surface area on the Brunson burner, so it may not even get the water boiling in this pot, or if it does, it'll take a long time. But I think it's hot enough to pull the starches out, so we're going to go ahead and start placing these in the pot. And hopefully it works out anyway. This works a lot better if you have a metal strainer. I don't have one, so we're just going to put it directly in the water. because then you could just put a bigger pot than the strainer, drop it down into the boiling water, and then pull it out and put that into, drop it directly into the ice water. And I don't think you have to use ice water. We do. It's just to keep them from cooking anymore. Like I said, you want them to be firm still. You don't want them to be mushy. And this should only take a few minutes. I don't know, now that it's not boiling. It's just real hot water. So we're going to let this go for a few minutes, and then we'll come back and I'll show you the starch is pulling out, hopefully anyway. And we'll get these out and get them into ice water to cool them off real quick. So this is just the blanching process altogether, and we'll be back. Okay, so they've been in the hot water for about I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 minutes now. It hasn't been that long. You can see the starches, the little bubbles, white foam. If this was at a boil, they would all gather to one side and you could see them more, but you can see the water's cloudy. So the majority of the starches just came out. I'm only blanching them this time just to show you kind of how to blanch them. Or show you how we blanch them anyways. You would do this when it's boiling. Just, I don't care if they're a little bit brown, they're going to taste the same no matter what. So, and like I said before, I think the unblanched ones actually weren't as tough as the blanched ones. So, but you can see the starch is coming out. Like I said, it should only take a couple of minutes if it's at a rolling boil. Just long enough to bring it back to a rolling boil and then pull them out. But we're gonna go ahead and call these done. Like I said, I don't care if they're a little bit brown, if the starches are still in there a little bit. So we're just gonna pull them out and plunge them into ice water here. So I don't know. I might let them go a few more minutes. You can see the starches just come to the top whenever you stir it a little bit, so we'll go ahead and just let them stir out a little bit more, and then we'll drop them in the ice water. There's no more ice in there, but it was ice water. It's ice cold, so. Alright, we got them out of the boiling water and into the ice water, and a good sign that you got most of the starches out is that your ice water isn't real cloudy, and this isn't ice water anymore. It's actually warm to the touch. I'm not going to dry these or anything. I'm just going to kind of get the excess water off and put them in a single layer on the trays. They're going to dry regardless. It may take a little longer, but so we'll get these trays loaded up, and we're just going to keep and pop in and out as they're dehydrating and show you where they're at. Now, if you have an Excalibur, it should take no time at all to do these. I have a cheap-ass Ronco, so it takes a while to dehydrate. If you've watched my garlic video, it takes garlic about 36 hours in this thing, so it's not a fast process by any means, but and that's how close I get them together. You know, they can touch as long as they don't overlap. It's fine. So we'll get these loaded up and we'll come back and finish up this part of it. Okay, so we got them all singled out, layered out. That one didn't have any. I just wanted to make a note on the Ronco. If you're using one, you want to use the minimum of 3 trays so you can rotate. Make sure your bottom tray don't melt. If you're only using 1 tray, then it's right over the heating element all the time and it can melt it. I've heard people complain that it ruined their beef jerky, and then I asked them, you know, well, did you rotate? And they're like, well, no. Read the book, it tells you to rotate. So the least amount of trays you want to use is 3, so you can rotate this one up, then this one will be down, then this one up, then this one will be on bottom, and just keep rotating like that every 4 hours or so. I used to do it every 3 hours, but I think I'm going to do these every 4. So we'll be back in 4 hours, and I'll show you where we're at with the drying process. So we put these on at 8 p.m. We flipped them at 11. So we let them go for 3 hours, and we rotated the bottom tray to the top. It's now about 3 o'clock in the morning. So it's been 5 hours now, or 4 hours rather. And you can see some of these are done, but like this one, it bends. It, you know, if it's bendable, it's not ready. Like that one's definitely ready. We'll just leave it on there for now. And really, you shouldn't touch these with your fingers because you get your oils on them. But we're going to go a little longer with them anyways. We're just going to rotate this tray to the bottom. And also, I want to note when I rotate, I spin the bottom tray a quarter turn, middle tray a quarter turn, and then the top tray a quarter turn as well. So I'm not just rotating the bottom tray to the top, I'm also spinning them as I go. So, or you can see when they're about ready. These should be done probably another 3 or 4 hours. They may go a little bit longer, and they're holding their color so far. That one's thinner, I guess, a little bit. It's definitely done. You can always tell when it sounds like a poker chip when you throw it back on the tray. So, but we're gonna let them go a little bit longer. Like I said, we'll rotate and then we'll come back and I'll show you where we're at. All right, so we started them at 8 p.m., flipped them at 11 p.m., then again at 3 a.m., then 5 a.m., then 9 a.m., and I let them go for till about 9:30, 9:45 and turned them off. They've been cooling now for about an hour, and I just wanted to show you to where we were. You can tell it's almost translucent. And blanching really does make them look better, by the way. At this point last time, you heard that, getting that poker chip sound. At this point last time, they look like little pieces of leather. So, blanching them, there's the difference. And you remember the water wasn't boiling, it was just real hot, so you don't have to have boiling water. Just have it on the verge of boiling. Dump them in there and then just leave them in a little longer. If it's boiling, leave them in a little less time, you know. So we're going to get these jarred up, and I'm going to show you how much for, that's probably 2 medium potatoes, and 2 smaller ones. So it wasn't that much, only 3 trays, and I'll show you how much I got out of it. So we ended up with a full pint and then about a half a pint. And what we'll do is we'll go ahead and get another bag of potatoes, eat them as we go. Right before they go bad, I'll go ahead and slice them up and finish this jar off, and I'll do 4 more potatoes around the same size. Actually, I think it was 5 potatoes, now that I think about it. It was 3 small ones and 2 mediums, but we'll go ahead and finish filling this jar up, and then we'll make another jar. So that's it, YouTube. That's how we do it. Learn, because you watched my first video, they didn't taste bad, but they came out looking awful, and then, you know, through the learning process, I've kind of pinpointed how we're going to do them, and that's how we're going to do them. So, thanks for watching, YouTube.